Hi, this is Larry Trocha, and today I want to talk to you about horses that have developed quarter cracks. Um, I haven't had very many horses that have had quarter cracks, but the ones that I have had, especially the first one that I had, uh, really showed me what a serious problem it is. I mean, it can be a bad deal. You get a horse that pops a quarter crack. More than likely he's going to be lame. Quarter crack might be bleeding. It's nothing to mess around with. The very first horse that I had to pop quarter cracks was actually a 2-year-old, a 2-year-old out of a really famous mare that had produced a bunch of cutting horse champions, world champions, and she'd produced a baby that won the Fort Worth cutting fraternity, and all those champions were produced when she was bred to Dock Bar, but then Dock Bar went sterile, and so they'd bred her to a different stud that wasn't a good match for her. And actually this was her last baby, the one that they sent me. And I didn't get a chance to see the baby before they sent it to me because it was in Texas. And so they shipped it out here to California to me. And as soon as that 2-year-old got off the trailer, I mean, I just knew it was going to be a problem. Here he was supposed to be a cutting horse, quick and catty, but I mean, he looked like a miniature Clydesdale, this big old heavy thick neck and big old wide heavy chest, and then on top of it, he had these little teeny tiny feet, and not only were they tiny, they were real thin walled on top of it. And sure enough, 6 months into the training, he pops quarter cracks on both front feet, and he not only popped one quarter crack on each front foot, he popped 2 quarter cracks on each front foot. So, every quarter he had was cracked. And the cracks were bad. I mean, they were bleeding. I couldn't ride him. He was so lame. So, I'd call the vet first, and the vets really didn't have much of a solution for it. And so I just started calling, horseshoers, farriers, the best I could find. And each farrier had his solution: bar shoes, lacing the cracks up with wire, filling it up with Bondo, you name it, they tried it. None of it worked. And this horse was pre-entered in the Fort Worth fraternity, so they were really expecting me to get him trained. I mean, I would already lost about 6 months of riding on the horse, and I was pretty convinced, he wasn't, he wasn't going to be rideable for a year until his quarter cracks grew out. And as a last hope, I took the horse to Davis here in California, and they had a shoer there that was older than the hills. I mean, the guy could barely stand up straight. But he took one look at the horse and he just says, "Well, I can fix that horse up right away." And I says, "Well, that's great, but by the time I can ride him, it's going to be too late. I won't get him trained in time." And he said, "No," he says, "when I'm done shoeing him, you'll be able to ride him and he'll be sound." And of course, I'm thinking this old guy has gone senile, because there's just no way. But he lit up his forge and built a couple of shoes, made them by hand, and tacked them on that horse's front feet. And the next day, I saddled that horse up and rode him, and he was sound. And I don't mean, and I mean 100% sound. I mean, I went right to work on him. Quarter cracks didn't bleed anymore. He wasn't limping. He wasn't sore. They started growing out. It was a good deal. Now, the horse didn't get ready in time for the Fort Worth fraternity, but I got him ready in time where I could show him at some of the derbies here in California, and he did okay. But so I'm going to start the video here, and I'm going to show you the shoe that old man made that fixed this horse up. Now, let me tell you right now before I start the video, this isn't the only way to do it. There's different ways to do it. This particular shoe is what worked on that horse. Now, the video I'm going to show you here is of another horse that I have here right now that popped a quarter crack on the inside of his left front foot. And this horse has good feet. I don't know why he popped that quarter crack. And the crack is unusual in that it didn't start at the bottom and work its way up. It actually started at the top and cracked down. And it didn't crack all the way down, but it cracked bad enough where it was bleeding, and the horse was darn sure three-legged lame. And so, you know, I had my shoer build this shoe, and the horse immediately went sound. And not very many shoers know about this shoe. And so that's why I made the video, and I wanted you to see it. So if you get a horse with a quarter crack, you can kind of show this to your shoer, and he can build one of these shoes, maybe fix you up. Okay, so let's start the video here. Hit the play button. So you can see the crack right there, and you know, when this video was taken, the crack had grown down probably about a quarter of an inch or so, and this horse is just about ready to be shot again. But if you look at the foot, and you see how we've got the shoe is only at the toe of that hoof, and you don't see anything back there in the quarters of the hoof where the crack is. Now I'll go ahead and continue playing the video, and you'll see how we do that. And here's the outside view of that hoof, and you can see again there's nothing touching the quarters of the horse's feet. And here we go. So you can see how we did that. We actually built a shoe that's in the shape of a mushroom, and the head of the mushroom is at the horse's toe, and the stem of the mushroom goes right down the middle of the foot and covers the frog. So basically, you know, the weight is distributed on that horse's toe, and it goes back and goes on that horse's frog. Now I'll play the video a little bit farther. I want to get far enough where you can see it. There we go, right there. So, you know, here's a good picture of it. Pretty easy to build. The fact that the quarters of the foot, you know, aren't touching the ground, they're just suspended in mid-air, means there's no pressure on the cracks. So, you know, at least on this horse and the other horse that I had, you know, it just took away all the pain and let the crack stabilize, and the horse would go sound. And you know, you can train him in this. I mean, you know, I'm training this horse in this shoe right here, and it doesn't hurt anything. And you know, I'm only going to have to leave it on for maybe another 2-3 months until that crack grows out a little bit farther. Then we can just put a regular shoe on him again. But you know, here again, you know, the things that you got to pay attention to is, you know, the stem of that mushroom, the part that goes over his frog, is wide enough to distribute the weight, you know, over most of the frog. You know, if you got it too narrow, well, then it's too much pressure on too small of an area, and that's the main thing you got to worry about. And you want the stem of that mushroom to go all the way out to the end of the foot there, like you can see in the picture here. So let's play the video a little bit more, see if we can get a different angle. I think that might be about it. Yeah. So anyway, that's about it. You know, that's a good shoe to use if you've got a quarter crack. It just might solve your problems.